Now here we have iMovie 9, and I wanted to show you this before we close it for the last time. So we'll say goodbye to iMovie 9. In the past, you had to do all sorts of things to enable this program to work right. And I remember I told you about the linking and that sort of thing. So here, let's take a look here. I'm going to open up my hard drive, my external hard drive, and you'd have to make folders for your audio. There's nothing in these now. Your stills and video. In addition, additionally, on your hard drive, well, it would have been on this one, but I'm just going to demonstrate here. In your movies folder. Additionally, iMovie would make iMovie events, and it would also make projects, so you've got all of these things to worry about. Well, no more, not with iMovie 10. So I'm going to go ahead right this second and throw these away. And I'm going to close out my Richmond, who is an external hard drive. And I'm going to close iMovie 9. And I'm going to go down here and open up iMovie 10, which is this purple guy. And the one to the other side is the gold star, which is 9. And here we have the famous and fabulous iMovie 10. And you can see that it looks a lot different. And so here we are in iMovie 10. And the reason that we don't need all of those files and folders, or folders really, that we saw before in Richmond down there, our external drive, is because iMovie has adopted the practice that Final Cut 10 uses. Well, actually, because Final Cut Pro also used the files and folders and that sort of thing structure, which was really confusing, and it would just lend itself to all sorts of errors if you were moving the whole project around. The reason you don't need that now is because everything is structured in a library. So if I twirl this up, I see that all of these, here we go. So we have, this is just the way iMovie does it. And then here's an event. We'll go into events and that sort of thing later. But here it is, and you can have multiple libraries. You can create a new library, and you're going to want to create a new library as your first thing. Create a new library. Why? Because by default, it's going to go on the Macintosh hard drive. Now remember, we don't want that to happen because that limits you to that computer. And the whole concept of this is that you be able to move around from computer to computer. And if it's on a Macintosh hard drive, that means that you are confined to that computer for the duration of the project. Now, as a matter of course, I make a library for each and every project. Everything is contained in there. It's just awesome. So we're going to create a new library by going to File, Open Library, and New. Okay. So, of course, it wants to know where to put it. Well, we certainly don't want it to go where it wants to go, which will be back on the hard drive. And we can name this. So let's call this Project 1. And we want it to go on Richmond. Here's Richmond. Remember, we deleted all these folders. So here we go. Save. There we go. Now look. Here's Project 1, and it's going to open up 2014. It's just the different events that are going to be in 2014. We'll go over events. This is events with a little star, and it defaults to the date, which happens to be May 25th, 2014. But you can go ahead and name that. So let's just do this, Project 1. And you can call it anything you want. It might be the name of your interviewee. Now, by default, iMovie has to have at least one library open. So you can close this, and it might make it a little less confusing. So we're going to close Library, iMovie Library, and there you go. So this is it. And there's nothing in here. We have absolutely no media or anything. But let's take a look and see what happened to Richmond back here. Oh, look, there it is, and that's the icon. This will have absolutely all of the project media copied in here. So it's really so simple at this point. You can literally take this and copy it somewhere else. Uh, that being said, it can be a very hefty file. And really, this is a folder. It doesn't look like it, but it's a folder of a whole bunch of substructures and subfiles and that sort of thing that iMovie writes behind the scene. So that is awesome. And that means that you don't have to have all your media stored necessarily on your external hard drive. You can copy it, and it will copy it right into this library, and it'll all be just perfectly organized for you. So that is huge. So that is the first part of our organizational practice, is to create a library that's going to go on your external hard drive. It cannot go on your computer hard drive, because that's going to confine you to using that computer for all time to complete the project. However, there's a little catch there. What did I just say? You could literally copy the project to a hard drive. You could do that. But if you're using those computers in the computer labs, make darn sure that you do that before you close out your session, because in those computer labs, it will delete everything that you stored on that hard drive. I repeat, it will delete everything you stored on the hard drive. So if you're doing that, be careful. I really feel like sooner or later you're going to forget that, and your whole project will be evaporated. So that's the downside to having everything in the library for iMovie. So I would highly recommend that you store it on an external drive, and you'll be just safer all the way around.